right, guys, welcome to another video. Before we get into things, let me quickly shout out my MetaFi. I recently updated all of these decks right after Christmas. They're ready to take down your next tournament. And of course, I have to shout out Sensei Inf's Is It Delver guide that is included with your Booksmart Baron membership. If you upgrade to that, you will have access to all of my stuff over on MetaFi. You can do so by using code ECO50 for a nice discount on your first month. Give it a go, see if you like it. That's going to be it. Let's get back into the video. All right, guys, let's play some more Legacy with sweet, sweet blue decks, just like you and me both enjoy the absolute most when it comes to Magic. I am playing a deck inspired by a deck that I saw on Twitter. It's very possible it was a 5-0 deck. But anyways, I liked essentially cutting Stoneforge Mystic from this deck that I played a few weeks ago. Thalia plus Riddler is now in on maximum numbers. The deck is a Tameo cantrip removal, cheap counters, Murktide Regent Shell, and then the fancy stuff is essentially over here. So Stifle doing double duty of, mana disrupting, but also comboing with Thalia. A little bit of Spell Pierce action here to make sure I'm not as cold to combo over the course of the match. It's a 20-lane deck with both basics and 4 wastelands. I'm running a Volcanic Island for slightly better prismatic endings in case you need to kill, what do I know, Baragoyf. Which, that Volcanic Island enables a couple of Pyros in the sideboard. The sideboard is quite standard from the way I build my decks instead of, I guess, 2 Purges. So let me talk to you a little bit about that card. It's essentially just some more Baragoyf, Kaito, Bowmaster, Killer. And I think this card is pretty well positioned right now where Hydroblast isn't. So, if Sneak Attack comes back at a higher clip, I will have to go back to Hydroblast. A couple of negations against combo. In a perfect world, I wanted to fit a third one. That's why I play a single Pierce. A couple of Wraths here for let's say Mox Opal decks, Saga decks, and Weenies. Surgical for Graveyard Hate. That's my favorite Graveyard Hate. It will continue to be so for the time being. And then here's the poor man's Baragoyf. Just have a little bit more of a annoying to kill threat, especially against Fatal Push decks. You can set it up with Ponder, Brainstorm, all of that jazz. So let's see if we can make people pay here with some sweet Azorius action. All right, round 1. I'm on the play, and this hand looks fine. I'll be using my Ponder to try and find a threat. This hand has some answer cards. That's great. I think the only question is whether I go from basics here. So I could theoretically go Ponder off Island. Or I could play from just duels from the get-go. We can try and play from basics here. It's been a while since I've prioritized that. So the basic lands will be good if my opponent is on some double wasteland draw, or they play, land or mono red. And then it could be slightly annoying in, cases where wasteland and blood moon are not in the mix because there's something like Ponder into a Murktide when I have 3 mana. That's impossible. So yeah, it's not an easy decision. If you think about the pros and the cons when you fetch your duels and fetch your basics, I think you'll do a lot better. All right. These cards, at least the 2 blue ones, they seem decent. So maybe something like put back, put back, put back, draw the days. In case I'm up against some blistering fast combo, it's nice to have that available. If I get Thought Seized, I guess having the Riddler there is fine as well. Let's see what we're up against. The opponent was on a single mulligan. Floodistram pass. So, also very cool to note here that the opponent's not playing around Stifle. Now the question is, does that make me look for one here with the Ponder? It probably does. I don't find it. I'll shuffle these. These are too unambitious. Another Force. Let me play the Arid Mesa here. If it turns out to not be a wasteland matchup, I like the option of fetching Surveil Land. Low rolling the Riddler here is fine. I don't use my mana as well as I could have, but I have some like failure potential for later. Let's see what the opponent makes of their top card. It's very important with a deck when you're running Stifles that you see your opponent's, you know, tendencies. Okay, so an Esper deck. I will go for a Surveil Land here. Let's see if I can find something like Tamiyo, Failure, etc. Another Riddler. With Force of Will in hand, it's not that bad. Maybe I just keep the card. And now I think it's time to play it. Let's do this. I don't mind getting dazed here. Maybe, okay, maybe Bowmaster plus Daze was annoying, so I should have played my land first. Yeah, I think that would have been slightly better. Let's develop the duel and pass. If I hit a Stifle, I would try and keep the Riddler alive, but it didn't. The opponent could have Bowmastered me, but didn't. Let's see what this is. This is a Brainstorm. That's fine. So the opponent was holding up something. Or at least, I guess, between Tundra and Arid Mesa, they were not scared of Bowmaster, so that's a good call. That is a very good call from the opponent. Alright, so we look to have a cool blue Slugfest here out of the gates. If my mana doesn't get disrupted, I have some cool late-game inevitability with the Riddlers. I'm low-key hoping to daze a Teferi here. Or Baragoyf, I guess. Ooh, we're playing against Cephalid Breakfast. I mean, it's what I must admit, it's my favorite deck to be playing against. I think it's just such cool gameplay. Let's see. If my opponent forces here, I'll pitch a Riddler. Okay, so we evade it getting killed. That's pretty decent, right? And I draw Prismatic Ending. Prismatic Ending, I think, is a good one here. Just get the heat off my back. Now comes the question. I don't think I want to Riddle. I'll stay put with this Riddler. I feel like this game I could pitch a Riddler to force, then find another blue card in time, turn the corner with this one and another force. Also, you know, if I just randomly draw a dog, I can do better things. Let's see if the opponent has another barrel here. They don't have another barrel. That's good for me. In general, I need to understand that I'm probably advantaged here, but, you know, can't take it for granted. Dog is a great draw. It will very, very likely eat a plow, but that is something that was bound to happen. Now the question is if I... Oh, they also play Failure. That's very cool. So, is this something that will backfire? I'm going to let this resolve. Let's see. Let's see if this will backfire. They could have Quantum Riddler in hand, and now I have to Force Will a Riddler. Yeah, now I have to Force Will a Riddler. Okay. So, new plan. Force Pitch Force. Attack. I will let this happen. Because if my opponent does not have the plow, I will be doing great things. Okay, so Philia, Riddler, Mirror, where they have a combo finish, and I don't. I believe here comes the plow. Here comes the plow. See if I can draw something here. Well, I think it's time to play Quantum Riddler and Happy Shields down. I think it's okay to find this card, so let's play this Riddler. Draw 2. So those cards are amazing if the game gets to go on. And it's less amazing if I get comboed. Okay, this is fine. I mean, I just cast a Mole Drifter, right? No other play here from the opponent, I would assume. So their hand is what? Archimeba, Dread Return, stuff like that. Murktide Regent. So I can now triple spell. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess let's leave the Force of Will out there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Murktide Regent. Tamiyo. So the opponent will blink the Murktide Regent. I didn't think about that enough. All right. We continue the cool streak of excited opponents. Yeah, can't ever get enough of that. So let's block, prevent the damage. The Murktide will get reset here. And here I will try and overload the opponent's removal here, essentially. Philia, Tamiyo, and Murktide Regent with a Riddler. I mean, this is pretty cool. Let's see what the opponent has to say about it. I did give them a draw to find days here. New Legacy player. Pretty darn sweet. Ooh, the opponent had to force that card. That is very good for me. So let's see if the last card is a Plow. I'm not sure I'm too scared of that, to be honest. That means they're 2 pieces away from winning the game. Also worth noting, this Riddler will now flip the Tamiyo. Brainstorm the draw. So let's get in there. Also, we know the opponent doesn't have days, because then they would have dazed the end step. So 5 mana Riddler, draw 2, flip the Tamiyo, and I think the opponent has to beat me now, or they will be swimming with the fishes. Let's pass here. We can always Desperado Brainstorm if we have to. This is where the opponent has to beat me. And that is not going to happen. All right. Beautiful display here of Failure Riddler making land drops, Riddler coming back. But of course, it wouldn't be possible if I didn't buy all that time to begin with. So I think these dazes are quite bad. I do like all of these other cards. The opponent is a Saga deck. The opponent has showed that they don't think too much about Stifle. So that's a good one for me to learn about. Add some Pyroblasts. Now the question is, do I add a couple of Surgicals? I think I do. I should probably add Surgicals here. Even though my deck is pretty good at keeping my opponent from winning with the combo, I think it could be a good one. And then maybe Spell Pierce is just to, you know, holding up that card is not that interesting. If I learn about Pierce, Teferi, not Pierce. If I learn about Teferi, I might reconsider. This should be a good setup. Wrath of the Skies is playable, but I think I would rather try and have a Wasteland available for the Saga. Stifle can also do some work. I'm keeping in the full set of Filius here, basically because I just want to ask my opponents a lot of questions here, and the moment that something sticks, I like my position, where in the opponent's deck, they stick a Nomad or what have you. It's not the end of the world. Pretty cool for the opponent to be watching my YouTube videos than firing up the game themselves. And here we are in the arena. That's pretty cool. A little bit of a message there. I'll answer later. For now, it's time to try and get the job done here against Breakfast. It's my favorite deck to play against, and it has been through, you know, way before Nadu was ever thought about, with Nadu, post Nadu. It's just the stress level of, you know, when do we piss our pants, excuse me, my language, to, you know, not dice to the combo, and when do we kind of respect that, okay, there's a Shuko on board, but, you know, I have bigger fish to fry, essentially. That dynamic is cool. All right. This hand is fine. I would love the same opening as last time, which was like fetch line pass. The opponent plays Tamiya, we're in trouble. But that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes when you're evaluating your opening hand, there's always going to be holes in that armor. Almost always, anyway. And mulliganing opens up new ways to, you know, be vulnerable. So if you can cover most of your opponent's range, that's the move. Secretly hoping, but yeah, okay, no such luck. Opponent fetching Tundra, casting Nomad. So now I have two moves. I can Wasteland that, or I can hold up Stifle. Let's try and understand the opponent fetching there. Is that ooh, nice draw. The opponent fetching there, is that because they only have more fetches? Is that because they have a natural draw on Basic Island? Is that because they're aware of Stifle? Very hard to tell. So what's my play? I think my play here is going to be Arid Mesa Pass. It disguises Stifle the best. And the Surgical is ready here. So if they go Saga, I can then do my... Perfect. So now I can do my favorite play of Wastelanding the land next to Saga, essentially. Oh, crap. That card. Okay, so never mind about that. I guess we will have some kind of showdown here. So let's see. I should let them play yield. Well, maybe I shouldn't yield here, because there's the Dread Return. So basically want to have them counter my Surgical with their Nut Draw, and then win the game with Stifle. That's the dream. Hopefully they only hit Cabal Therapy late here in the pile. Just if they hit it early, we could be in trouble. Also, no. Yeah, let's see. 18 cards. Third Narcomoeba, 12 cards. So I think because we saw Underground Sea, this is just going to be like one Cabal Therapy hanging out. There it is, unfortunately. The therapy... Yeah, let's see how this plays out. Because I think I might get therapied on Surgical. I think that would be a good name. Okay, let's see. The opponent's kind of going all in here. Maybe? No. I don't know. I don't think I can do much smart stuff aside from getting rid of the Dread Return. Okay. Does that mean Oracle in hand? That's not good for business. Is that Oracle? Wait a minute. Where's Oracle? Oh, they need to therapy themselves here. Yeah. And now I have double, like, I can surgical the card, and then I could also stifle it. Yes, you got it. Yeah, the opponent needs exactly Daze and Force Blue card to beat me here. You know, possible. Let's see it. That's not what they have. So, Thassa's Oracle is now into the graveyard. And we get to fire a lethal surgical. And if they had the counter for this, I could have stifled the ETB. Uh-huh. Red return resolves. And the version here without Memory's Journey is in trouble. All right, so the opponent went for a naked turn 2 win, which, I don't know, a little bit questionable. I don't think I will ever have a 7 with absolute 0 counterplay here. So even if I have Force of Negation, it's on. If I have, you know, Source of Plowshares, I would have fired it, obviously. And then it's down to, you know, Surgical and Stifle, but I'm not sure Stifle was on my opponent's radar to begin with. Oh, well, cool little start here to the video. Let's keep it up with this blue-white deck. Guys, 4 seasons and I have great plans for 2026. I present you my own tournament series. It's going to consist of 4 Eco Championship qualifiers throughout the year. Here are the details. Here's the entry fee. It's going to be free for all members over on MetaFi. Hundreds of Chester chests, 2 4 seasons main event tickets up for grabs, or you can cash them in for chests if you don't plan on going to the event. And the top 8 of each of these will qualify for the Eco Championship, the end of year finals, which will be a 32-player event. Here are all the details. Of course, going to be free entry if you won your slot. There's going to be 1,000 treasure chests in total. You're going to be winning your own championship playmat with artwork by Adriano Kitani. You'll make it in collaboration with Adriano. Adriano does beautiful art on my channel here. I will pay for 4 high-quality playmats so you can play with your own trophy playmat after winning. And then the top 8 from this tournament will qualify for the following year's championship, which will then be a 40-player tournament. So yeah, I'm very excited for 2026, and I hope to see you over there on MetaFi to take part in this awesome tournament series. Thank you to 4 Seasons for sponsoring this. All right, we're playing first. Round 2, I'm playing the blue-white Riddler Failure deck. And I'm not quite sure what to make of this. I want to hold up Stifle turn 1, but this is also a little bit of the, let's say, tough part of the deck. All right, let's hold up Stifle turn 1. It's a little bit of a funny one because I have 2 white fetches in my deck, aside from the Flooded Strands, because I want access to planes. And the cool thing is that this masks Stifle also slightly better, so pretty cool stuff. Ooh, Emery. We're playing against Affinity. Affinity is a very, very tough deck. So Emery, we cannot let resolve. That's just how that works. I believe Stifle is quite bad. Yeah. Let's Force Will the Emery. Learn about whether we win or lose this war, and then we can kind of surveil with that in mind. Okay. Affinity, very, very tough deck to play against. Let's see if we can find a Swords to Plowshares here. Brainstorm. Do I like that card? I'm casting Ponder. Basically digging for the plow. I feel like if I don't hit that plow, I'm in trouble. So I will be thinking about right now and putting the Brainstorm into the yard. Doesn't feel good. Trust me. Trust me on that one. Spell Pierce. Very bad draw, unfortunately. Well, these cards are pretty good, not gonna lie. So probably something like this. And then I'm gonna say anything you can do, I will try and do better. Because this is not interacting with the opponent. This is basically laying out my plan. But yeah, that was brutal. The difference between letting the opponent untap with Emery and it being dead is just huge. Second land out of the opponent. Let's see. Okay, they want to go Patchwork. That's fair. Patchwork's a good one. It's a card that I can reset with Failure at some point. My next card is Murktide Regent. But I think I should keep Kappa Cannoneer at bay. Let's Wasteland. Let's attack. And then I go Failure, Riddler, draw a bunch of cards, establish a board presence. The opponent can now Kappa Cannoneer, even though I tried my best. That card is crushing. That card is crushingly good. Ooh, even that card. All right, I'm getting severely dominated here. My opponent's hand lined up very well against me, but to be fair, that's what the Affinity deck is designed to do. The Affinity deck is designed to be like, oh, I have some spud removal, I'll be ready, and then, you know, Automaton and Kappa Cannoneer destroys your day. Stuff like that. So I'm just going to assume that the opponent has Cannoneer here. Okay, they don't. Okay. Then maybe we have a chance. The opponent's going to attack for 4, and I'm going to establish the Riddler and Dog, unless the opponent has exactly Sink into Stupor. Failure. No Stupor. The opponent will draw a card. Let's play Quantum Riddler and draw Magic card. Land is not bad, so maybe the opponent drew Sink into Stupor now. They didn't. Okay, cool. All right, blink the Riddler. Then when that comes back, that will flip Tameo, which is a little bit of an unfortunate timing. Because then Tameo is vulnerable. Play land, pass the turn. Get back the Riddler, draw a card. Plow. It was indeed Plow. Very, very good draw. Let us fetch a Tundra and kill the Emery. Kill Emery, pass the turn. So flipping the Tameo here is not, you know, it's not all that great. All it takes is like an answer to Riddler and Tameo's dead. But if they don't kill it, I really like my position. Ooh, so the opponent's playing Baragoyf out of the sideboard. That's cool. That is very cool. Let's see if the opponent has one more artifact, because that would make the Patchwork trump the Riddler and Tameo relegated to the past tense. All right. Tameo is dead. I think I have to accept that. I still have a very, very good board, though, and I can reset the Patchwork when attacking. Play Murktide. Let's see what we draw here. Days. So now I can do a few things. Let's think. If I attack with both, I can reset the Patchwork. Could also stay back with the Riddler and try and... Yeah, I should probably do that. But if I reset the Patchwork, I can't play Murktide because this costs 2 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can make Murktide into a 7/7. So then I would have to double block. Maybe that's fine. So if I hold back, what if I attack with dog to blink a Riddler. The opponent probably has to block, otherwise I can keep doing it. Then that card is gone, and then I have 2 flyers in play. Draw end of turn. Okay, so I think I have a plan here. Let's see if it works. Attack with Failure, target Riddler. Let's see what the opponent likes here. They trade off. That happens. So now I think what I'm supposed to do is cast Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll land. Then I will daze the Merc. I was trying to hold control here. That's terrible. All right, holding priority didn't work. So if mechanics were up to speed, I would have dazed my own Murktide here. I could either pay or pierce. I think what I should have done is pierced my daze, because then the Riddler comes back, I draw 2 cards, and if I have something to do on my next upkeep before the draw step, I would draw 2 more cards. So I'm basically losing out on cards here, which is super annoying. All right, we're back here. I just had to get an exciting mail day here. All right, so failure to hold priority, even though I pressed the button, always annoying. I drew the ponder end of turn, and here we are. So this, I feel like I should... No, well, I guess the opponent is just going to have... Let's see. Hey, daze that pierce. Let's just let the opponent work their magic here. Ah, that was so annoying. So this card, I will pierce, and I will daze, and then I'm going to draw 2 cards from my draw step for the Riddler, basically looking for stuff like Plow, etc. At this stage of the game, I will be bringing back an untapped land, because I think it's more important to... Oh, sheesh. Ah. Okay, this time it was my mistake. Bringing back a land does not reduce my hand size. That's atrocious. That is really, really bad. Okay. Yeah, I got a little bit confused in this game. That's how it goes. So, in general, if you're a good player, you want to manage your hand size with Riddler so that you can get a bonus here and there. So the opponent learned about Ponder. That's totally fine. If the opponent double attacks... Sorry, if the opponent attacks, I will double block. And then I'm still in a tough position against Emissary, and I have to find a solution. So I'm certainly in trouble here. Maybe that play holding priority and casting Pierce and Daze. So the Daze certainly didn't work. Ah, that's too funny. Oh well, Magic's a hard game. That's why we love it so much. And that's pretty cool. I can bring you guys the blueprint for what not to do, right? I think the most important thing is just trying to learn from, good habits, bad habits, oversights, being aware, and then hopefully minimize the amount of that. I feel like if the opponent passes here, I am in a decent spot. But maybe they're trying to outgrow... So let's see. You probably play land and then ponder. So now this ponder is going to draw me 2 cards, which is pretty cool. And I do like Plow. Not going to lie. So Plow. Plow, however, is not live. So I will need to pass here. Does cycling Riddler make any sense compared to cycling a clue? Cycling Riddler versus cycling a clue. I think it's slightly better to get rid of a card in hand to cycle. So let's try that. I'm at 12 here, by the way. I'll go for the red one, because in theory, killing Emery with Prismatic Ending is a thing. Okay, so cycle here. Wasteland. Wasteland is not bad. It's like, I'm hoping my opponent draws Saga, because I'm in a position where I like most one-for-one trades. I will say the Kappa Cannoneer is ticking down. Here's another Automaton. So now the opponent can go Automaton, the 3/3 from Exile. And then let's see if they have an artifact to go with it. They do. That's crazy. Chalice of the Void. Oof. That is brutal. Okay, very nice to know about the Chalice. Now I think I'm losing, because now Plow is not on anymore, and this is an 11/11. So the opponent still can't attack if they're using the same logic as previously. And now I need Prismatic Ending and my opponent to brick. Yeah, this is going to be tough. This is going to be very tough, especially after I dazed myself for no reason. I could have had a daze in hand and one more land in play, so that means closer to hardcast Riddler. All right. Failure is that is one of the only cards I could draw here, I think, to be in it. Well, let's pass the turn. So now I need my opponent to brick, so the double block still works in this Automaton. It doesn't look like a brick. Okay, so we can go to the next game here. Yeah, a bunch of bad plays from me here, like dazing for no reason. That was atrocious. And then, yeah, just being a step behind after the Emery resolved and was unanswered early. That's cool. That's how Magic should work, right? You play poorly and the other person has a good deck and play their cards right. Yeah, that's what we all want. So bunch of stuff here that I don't like. And I do like all of these cards. Now the question is, do I like a number of consigns? I probably do. So I could easily see myself cutting something like a single copy of Failure here, maybe a single copy of Riddler, and then I go like this. I think this is a very, very good setup. Dazes are situational, Pierce the same, Stifle the same, and then because I'm going down on Stifle, I'm also going down on the quote-unquote engine here. The cool thing about Failure is it's still a Chalice answer, and it has some upside in my deck. I'm bringing in some good cards for early game and some good cards to turn the corner, like Wrath and Triumph, and just good interaction in Pyroblast. I really like my setup post sideboard. Pre-sideboard, it's a little bit iffy on paper. Okay. So my hand is good against a swarm of 1/1s. My hand is less good against Patchwork. But that's why Affinity is good. It's one of my absolute favorite decks in Legacy, and that is exactly because you frequently get into situations where the opponent's cards simply don't line up very well against it. Also worth noting that we're up against a Chalice version. Still, yeah, decent card to have in the back pocket. I'm kind of holding my breath here. Turn 1 Chalice would be a disaster, because then I need to draw land to be in it. Is this Dismember? Okay, so dismembering that card, just a solid start from the opponent. But I draw the land like an absolute champ, so now I can play the Failure Riddler game. Let's see what their follow-up is. They can have a bunch of good follow-ups. There's a Saga. That's a good follow-up. So now they have the mana for a card like Emery. Ooh, they have an Emissary draw. I mean, I'm going to say, sure, buddy. How many zeros can the opponent bring to the table? Here's Mox Opal. So one more zero and a Kappa Cannoneer. That's the nightmare for me. Shadow Spear, that's fine. Anything else? No. Okay, so that is, you know, beatable. I should probably fetch Volcanic Island here. Play Dog. Untap. Cameo. Okay. So I could get Riddler going here. But I could also ponder into a Wasteland. I should probably try to do that. And then my fallback is hopefully to find a land. Like a normal land, right? There's the Wasteland. So second failure is not good. I'll draw the Wasteland. So here, waste the Saga, kill a flyer, I guess. My top card is Prismatic Ending. And then a bad card underneath. Yeah, let's kill a flyer here. All right. So we're alive for now. But the opponent has... If they have one mana, they can play the guy from exile. And that's what they're going for. Pinnacle Emissary it is. So now worth noting, I cannot do my Riddler trick. Well, I can, but it will cost me the dog. Next draw being another dock, though, so maybe that's fine. Flipping Tameo sounds like the move. Attack with both. Get this guy out of here. Kill the Opal, maybe, with Ending. That could be a play. So, get the Emissary out of there. Basically trying to fight the Kappa Cannoneer draw. Let's flip the Tameo and look for good stuff. Oh yeah, these cards are awesome. I feel like Dog. Do I want to shuffle my deck here? Probably want to develop a Murktide. Maybe it's the Ending. So I go Dog, Ending, and then Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pass the emissaries back. I'm trying to set up a situation where I'm not losing on board and I still have a bunch of draws towards Wrath of the Skies, which are pretty good game ender. Okay, so redundant Mox here into the Abyss. Now the opponent can equip if they want to. One card in hand. Tameo's working its magic. Equipping that card is great. Now the opponent has to pass. Down to one card. I draw Wrath of the Skies like an absolute madman. Sheesh. Like an absolute madman. So this Wrath of the Skies kills everything except the emissary. So play land, do it for 2. Is there anything cool I can do with the dock before killing it? I don't think so. So artifact, creature, and enchantment. So that's everything except the emissary. I love it. Wrath of the Skies. Done. I'm keeping my Tamiyo in play. I'm playing defense with Merc. So now Merc takes a 3-turn clock. Tamiyo's go to 8, draw my deck. So I'm just going to play defense. Nice land, buddy. Very nice land. Okay. Well, yeah, this game is over. Kill. Draw 2. Build the land. Pick up. Attack for 5. All right, so we got there with some early interaction and then a backbreaking Wrath. Now my opponent knows about the Wrath. They also know I fetch red. Okay. So a spot like this where you kill off, you know, one of your own cards, that's totally fine. But I also do like that Murktide stays in play, right? So the same with Quantum Riddler if I'm lucky to have that in rotation. So on the draw, consign and cards like Ponder become worse. I mean, every card is worse on the draw, right? But the difference between pondering turn 1 before the opponent had a turn, you know, where you can find force or look for the plow or what have you. It's big, so huge disadvantage here on the draw. Let's see if we can dodge some brokenness and we can have this game where, you know, waste the Saga, flip the Tamiyo to get the Emissary in check, all of that jazz. That would be cool. Ooh. This hand, so this hand needs to draw land, and if it does, have decent counterplay. Yeah, this is close. I'm going to keep this hand, and I'm going to hope to draw some lands. Turn 1 Chalice is amazing for the opponent. This ending will have to do a lot of work. I do draw the land, so now the opponent will have free realm rain. I can't stop them this turn. Ooh, that's awesome for the opponent. Because now I need to kill this card, but I also need to kill the Saga. It's very, very good for the opponent. What's my best draw here? Force Will, I guess? Third land. I think I have to take the third land. Yeah, let's take the third land. Fetch Tundra. Kill Chalice. No. Fetch Volcanic. Yeah, that's better. Fetch Volcanic Island. Try and kill Chalice. I'm sorry. Yes, fetch Volcanic Island. Because if I draw Wasteland next turn, I need my red in play already. Ooh, this is backbreaking. The perfect draw for the opponent if they have the force here against my hand. Okay, I got lucky there. So step 1 is make it to this point. Now step 2 is don't get run over on this exact turn. And then step 3 is find Wrath of the Skies and eventually. Opponent. That's that. Yeah, I mean, that's what the deck does. It's so powerful because I'm sitting over here and I have so good tools, but I don't have the time, right? So this is a play draw situation where if I play first, I can kind of kill, you know, the Chalice a turn before, Pyroblast is on the stack, and there's no issues at all. And now we're really in Wrath of the Skies territory. Oof, brutal. And now I have to play, like, plow a token, stuff like that. Let's see what this is. This is the, oh my god. Yeah. That is insane. The opponent realizes it's time to pounce, and days might as well be in my sideboard, and unfortunately, they're right about that. I don't like that timing. I don't like that timing. Nice Force of Will. So let's think about counterplay. Consign to Memory is a card that works against Kappa, because I go kill it with one of these and then consign. Ooh. How do I possibly win this game? Wrath of the Skies is no longer the answer. Which card do I hold up? I think I hold up Plow. So I should cycle this Riddler. Oh, this is abysmal. Brainstorm. Dang. Ah, too tough. Too tough. Should I? Yeah, I should probably just fetch here. So now, if the opponent goes for the haste equipment, I need to plow the construct, take 1,000,000, then brainstorm into consign. Ooh, they go for that one. Yeah, well played, well played. So basically, if I hang on to this, yeah, this is tough. Okay, I'm losing. I am losing this game. Baragoyf, sure. I mean, that's just a random extra threat, right? So, kill that. Maybe I should have forced it. Yeah, okay. I'm sleeping a little bit at the wheel here. I should have forced the Baragoyf, pull out the construct, and then try to find the Kappa line. Yeah, I messed up. I messed up. Yeah, that's for sure my bad. Because yeah, I needed to force a will. Dang. So this St. Catherine is bad. Second Pyroblast, probably bad. And now I lose because even if I find the consign, it's not enough. Yeah. Okay, we lose. Good games. Great deck and great showcase of, if you don't play well, I mean, you just don't have the wiggle room to, you know, fool around and click the wrong buttons and, you know, miss sight of the game. And yeah, so yeah, play better than me and you'll be fine. All right, let's play a little bit better this round to at least give the deck the credit it deserves here. Ooh, on the draw here with a tap land. Not my favorite place to be, but I think between the plows and the force, I'm likely to get into the game against the vast majority of legacy decks. And then sure, sometimes you get wastelanded into oblivion and nothing matters. Let's see. This could be Emir Tempo, which would be a great matchup. I always love interactive stuff back and forth. When it takes the Riddler, I'm already scared about the card Reanimate, I must say. Okay, land is a good draw. I think despite... I want to go tap land here. Here's looking more and more sketchy the more times I see it, but it's mainly just in the deck to check boxes against combo decks. So I guess if I don't face combo decks, it's not going to look good. That's just how it goes. Okay, well, since the opponent get rid of Riddler, if they're creature-centric, I kind of like my spot here with double plow. So maybe they're not creature-centric. Maybe this is a Doomsday deck. So I guess we should bait a potential Daze here. Be awesome to be dazed here. So this is a pretty good play you can make where the story makes sense, right? I'm looking for land. I just bin Dispel. But that's not how the cookie crumbles here, opponent. I will play my Polluted Delta and pass. If I have to, I'll compile creature end of turn. If not, then, you know, I'll just sit there with my fetch land. And I'm hanging on to the Ponder because it's my last blue card. And I could be playing against a Doomsday deck or a Show and Tell deck. I mean, we don't know. So this is why it's important to not just assume a bunch of things if you have the luxury to wait. That is a very bad draw, unfortunately. I think I'm going to pass once more and then really think hard about it next time. I would love to learn about what the opponent's up to. So they left me with the Force. That makes me think a fair strategy, but they also left me with the double plow, so who the hell knows? Here's Brainstorm. The opponent's also been showing, you know, weird fetches. But that makes a lot of sense when you're just trying to fill your deck with assorted fetches of blue and black, you know, just a good split, right? So the opponent is some blue-black deck, but whether it's a tempo deck, reanimator deck, show and tell deck, I'm not quite sure. So this could be like a Bowmaster staring contest. Let's see if we can draw a live card here and get things going. That would be cool. That is a live card. Question is if it's time to cast it. Maybe it's time to go land Ponder and then get the party started here. All right, let's try and get the party started here. I'm expecting to lure out a Bowmaster and, you know, get some fireworks going. I'm very weak to Kaito. This is frequently something you can take advantage of playing Dimir, where, you know, the leftover token is now premium. Let's see. Can we draw something cool? We can. Okay. So I like that Murktide. So maybe something like, am I willing to fetch away the land? I mean, the land looks decent as well, which is kind of funny. So what about this? Land, Murktide, Brainstorm, because Brainstorm is my force fodder. Then next turn I draw land, slam Riddler. No, sorry. Next turn I draw Murktide, slam that. Then the following turn I slam Riddler. Now I also have to decide whether I should plow this token or accept being bad against Kaito. Unfortunately, I'm going to go for the latter and be bad against Kaito. The opponent's fetching to thin here or is running double surveil. Okay. Here's a Brainstorm end of turn. The opponent's really looking for the Kaito. But I think if I start plowing that, I just start losing to, you know, Murktide, Baragoyf, and what have you. So, yeah, the power of Kaito without even being there. You love to see it. With the opponent playing a land, it looks like they either don't have Kaito or did not think about drawing into a potential wasteland. Okay, we're losing to Kaito here. Okay, that was tough. That was very tough. So I'm going to be drawing Murktide. I'm going to be playing Murktide. Then the opponent can shut that down, and it's going to be a grind fest here. I can hope that my opponent has multiple fatal pushes in hand. That would be, you know, believable story. I think I should exile my whole graveyard here and play around days, but maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm hard casting Riddler next turn. Yeah, Magic's hard. So now stun, attack for 3. I play Riddler, I fight over it. Yeah, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Kaito, the bane of, not bane of nightmares, but bane of blue-white decks. As always, thank you so much for following my journeys here. I love every moment of it. This card is very beatable, and part of the reason that, you know, keeping the plow is the way to go. I mean, this is a 2-of, and they play a million Mercs and Baragoyfs and what have you, Tameo, so yeah, this is what I had to do. So let's see. This could be a petty theft. Even a card like Stifle can do nasty things against Kaito, which is kind of cool. Here's petty theft. I will force it, pitch Brainstorm, lose on the spot to force blue card. So now the opponent gets in for 3. I will plow the Merc. And now I will slam the Riddler as I planned. So if I dodge Daze here, I'm in a decent position. Let's see. Slam Quantum Riddler. Draw 2. Where's blue card? Not bad. Okay, we have a game. Every time when I'm playing here on YouTube, I'm rooting for, you know, the player behind to get some good draws. Like, it's not fun to just get buried by Kaito, right? Then, you know, the game's over. So I like this quite a bit, that I'm able to fight here. And then I'm basically trying to get to, it's funny, they have 6 fetch lands in the yard. I'm trying to get into a spot where I, you know, isolate some pushes in the opponent's hand, and I actually get there with my, you know, big creatures. Ooh, this is a Desperado Brainstorm. Put back 2, cast another Brainstorm. That is a desperate Brainstorm if I ever saw one. Wasteland. Get rid of red. That's all goody, buddy. And the last card is a 1. It's a 5/5 Murktide, which unfortunately is big enough to stop the Riddler. Don't daze me, buddy. Don't daze me, buddy. Oh, they found the force. This is sick. So now the opponent can 0 Kaito if they want to draw, because I lost life thanks to Force of Will. And they are going to do exactly that. But that also means they don't have what was I trying to say? They don't have, yeah, I lost it there for a second. They don't have 3 counters, so they don't have like stun in the bank here. So let's see. I can ponder here and draw 2 cards, which is insane. Let's see if Riddler can do work. I don't want 2 of these cards, and by, you know, I don't want all of them, right? Ooh, this is atrocious. Absolutely abysmal. So now I'm going to do a very bad play of Prismatic Ending into the Abyss so I can draw 2 cards next turn. Very, very bad. Yeah. Okay, well, we did our best here. The opponent now has, if they have a removal, so if they plus Kaito last turn, they would have had lethal now, which is relevant. Yeah, I needed to draw, you know, something here. Plow would be insane. Tameo would be fine. More cantrip stuff, more Riddler stuff, more Murktide stuff. But yeah, no such luck. Oh, wow. The opponent puts 2 cards on the top of the library. I don't like that. So now what are they going to do? Chill? Okay. I'm going to draw 2. I'm at 9, and they left 2 cards on top of the deck. Is that just a new Murktide? Is that why the opponent played like this? Is that just a new Murktide? 2 cards on top. That's scary. So if I attack Kaito, the opponent will chum block. So I guess let's do that. And then I'm going to play a land and a Murktide so that I draw 2 on my next draw step. Unfortunately, Orcish Bowmasters would kind of ruin my day here. Let's get the Tamiyo into the Abyss. Worth noting, the opponent could have ticked up again to now save a stun while preserving Kaito. So I'm pretty happy with the opponent. Oh, wow. So what? They have another... If they have another Kaito on top, I really like this play. 1, 2, 3. No, I should get the full amount going here. Here's a Murktide. Growing the previous one to an absurd size. Then I'm going to play a land. I'm going to be a little bit cautious with these fetches, I must say. Might crack 1. Is this... Okay, so the opponent found their own Merc here, which is hilarious. No, Baraglyph. Okay. Okay, well... Now, how much damage do I have here? I have a lot. Baraglyph into another good card is the opponent's move. Let's crack a fetch here. I think that's okay. Get an island. Draw 2. I'm on deck. Can we do it? Did we do it here? Unclear if we did it. So what happens if I attack with 2 big mercs? Kill Baraglyph with Plow. 1, 2. Funnily enough, I survive my opponent drawing Murktide because they only have 2 cards to exile. Okay. Attack with 2 big boys. And then plow the Baraglyph. But I think I should wait with that. I want my opponent to declare attackers. Okay, the opponent will take 8. That's fine. Let me play Arid Mesa. So, if my opponent has a main deck Force Negation, so be it. So I basically want my opponent to draw something here and declare attackers and then get blown out. Let's see if that works. Let's see what this is, buddy. This is another Merc that indeed grows that Murktide to a 7, which is awesome. So now, what are you going to do about that, Capone? Oh, wow. Plow onto that card, I think. Go to 1. We want to go to 1 against the Bowmaster deck. Go to 1 against the Bowmaster deck. Double attack. The opponent chum blocks. I'm trying to think about the advantages of blocking now and blocking later. Drawing 2 cards is so juicy. What good cards do I have to draw? The 4th Plow. The thing is I take Riddler off the table, but I draw 2. 2 cards is pretty strong. So if I draw Tamiyo, that's a good blocker. Magic is very tough. I'm not sure I'm beating Orcish Bowmasters. Maybe it's fine to lose to that card. All right. Let's go to Uno. Take the draw. Draw a couple of cards. Now my thinning last turn looks a little bit dicey, I must say. Draw 2. Here's a dead prismatic ending. So block. Yeah, let's attack with the big ones. Force the chump. Then get ready to chump with the Riddler. This time, hang on to the ending because Tamiyo is actually a card the opponent can draw here. Pass the turn. Dodge Bowmasters. Dodge removal. Beautiful game. So Kaito's now off the table. Shuffle. Let's see. That's cool. Very cool. I love that game. That was a really, really cool game. I think I played, I played fine for the most part. Got into a cool spot. Okay, so I have a lot of cards here that I do like, and then I have a lot of cards here that I don't like. So I think keeping a single daze is good. Love my setup here. And now the question is if Pierce is daze better than a Pierce. Very well could be. So maybe let's run 2 dazes here. Upgrade with Pyros for Mercs, Tamios, and Kaitos. And some Triumphs to further make Fatal Push a hit or miss card. That was a cool game. I thought I was dead for a while there, but I thought I played decently against the Kaito. And I think my opponent could maybe have done a little bit of a better job, plussing on one of those turns to have a stun in the bank. But thanks to that, we got a cool game out of it. So there's that. Ooh, double daze in the opener is atrocious. Yeah, I'll keep this hand and hopefully have a couple of lands in my top 3 to 4. I think if my opponent goes turn 1 Tamiyo, I will surveil and I will daze it to kind of get more looks to get the land. Opponent's on a little bit of a mulligan. I will say having 2 dazes in my opener here is probably going to be bad, but let's see. Dang. Here's Tamiyo. So now let's make a cool play and daze before resolving the surveil. Just a good habit. Here, I'm going to be looking for the same cards regardless. But let's say, oh, now I need to find an answer, right? It could change what I'm going to be picking. It will not this time around. I'll just be looking for lands. Okay, so I think I should just kill that card right away off of Tundra. Now, maybe my opponent's going to smell that something is up with the way this played out. Like, if I just can plow it, why did I daze? They might be thinking about that. All right, let's look for more land here. We're lucky to find the land. So, next turn I could play Murktide Regent. I think that's pretty cool. It's a card that dodges a lot of stuff in the opponent's deck. It stops a little bit of Bowmaster into Kaito action. To be fair, I'm probably dazing that card anyway. Don't him to Torg me, buddy. Here's... Okay. This card I'm gonna daze. And I'm gonna return the Tundra. So the reason to daze here is, I believe Murktide Regent is better than, the tempo loss. Like, it's basically worth my time. Okay, so the opponent actively wanted to get dazed there. They took a cool trick out of my book here. So this smells a lot like Baragoyf. Let's slam a Merc. Second daze could easily be in my opponent's hand, but I think it's better to play this card out. all the times they don't have it. Like, you have to compare what's the ramifications if I do get dazed versus all the other times where I delay myself, right? So here, pretty clear Murktide from my point of view. Looks like Bitter Triumph. Beat the cycle. That is all goody. So this game is looking pretty even. Tameo, that's a good one. But Tameo is probably just going to get pushed. Maybe I think it's fine to Riddler here. Try and build up to 5. Let's fetch Volcanic Island and slam a Tameo. Pass. I have some good answer cards. I can shut down Murktide. I can shut down Baragoyf. I expect this to die to Fatal Push, and then I have another one. So I'm trading well here. The opponent's passing the turn. Okay, so Bowmaster situation is brewing. Land is actually not bad. Okay, no push over there. Okay. Okay. We could be in the Kaito timeline. So pass, crack a clue on the opponent's upkeep, probably. So here, let me plow this card. Let me draw a magic card. And let me pass. So I could get Kaito'd here, in which case I will kill it and move on with my day. Okay, the opponent doesn't have Kaito, then they would have let on that card. I mean, these games are just my favorite when I play Magic. I should play more blue decks. It's just enjoyable to try and navigate, first of all, the games, of course, like you're seeing right now, but also just building the decks in theory and checking the boxes. Okay, I put Celestial Purge in my deck, and now I play against Kaito, Baragoyf, Bowmaster deck. Like, that's just so rewarding. And then hopefully we get some sweet situations in the meantime where you can either learn what to do or learn what not to do. What not to like. Here's their own Tameo. That's a good one. Backing for 1. So now I think I'm going to riddle. But let's see about that. Wasteland. Okay, maybe I should develop that. So attack with Tameo, get a clue, slam Riddler. And then I have a play pattern of my opponent gets Kaito going. I can upkeep the Purge and draw 2 from Riddler. The opponent's thinking if there's any Jeskai ninjas seeing play these days. Let's see if they found Days in the meantime. That would be very good for the opponent. Ooh, it looks like Days. Okay. Then it's going to be a tough one. Then it's going to be a very tough one. And now, did they also find the Kaito? I am in big trouble if that's the case. Don't Kaito me, bro. Okay, they will. Okay. So Kaito back to Tameo. I will kill that and flip my own Tameo, so I guess there's hope. That's why blue-black is so strong, right? It has built-in grindy elements for Tameo, 2 Kaitos. That's like a whole control deck. Okay. The opponent lets the Tameo stay in play. Kills off the token. That's interesting. So now I have 6 mana. Kill Kaito, flip Tameo. Yeah, that's probably going to be it. Then I'm going to be drawing a bunch of cards, and I'm kind of level with my opponent. So here comes Purge. Oh, wow. I certainly didn't think about this. This is totally my bad. Ooh. Ooh, sheesh. Yeah, that's very bad. I should have thought about that. Dang. That's not smart. Okay. So now, let's see. Attack, cast Ponder, try and find Pyro. Ooh, the opponent went from having, like, nothing to having the Daze to the Kaito to the Force. Yeah, this caught me off guard a little bit. Okay, this is sick. So we recover nicely here. Draw, flip the Tamiyo. So basically get to the same outcome. Pass. Okay, this is not bad. But yeah, I need to be a little bit more careful, especially just assuming my opponent's going to sideboard in the same way. I think that's generally not a good idea. Let's see. Did the opponent do it? Okay, they didn't find a second one. That would have been awesome. And all of a sudden, I feel like I'm in the driver's seat here. So I'm going to be miracling a Triumph. And then I can kind of do what I want here. Okay, the opponent's going to cycle because if they draw like Thoughtseize or whatever, that's just a good play. So am I wasting here? Is that land ever going to do anything? Maybe it's fine to waste land here on the upkeep before a miracle. Okay, the opponent didn't have a brainstorm. Just pretty good to know about. Uh-huh. Here's Triumph. That card enters the battlefield. Then I have to think about my next move. I can plus my Tamiyo if I want to, but I actually think... I'm sorry, I can minus, but I actually don't think I'm going to do that. I wish I could remember the next card on my deck. I feel like it was a bad card. Maybe cast Bonder to find out. I feel like it was maybe Flooded Strand. Okay, snuff out on that card. So now let's see. Does this... I think this just reshuffles the card. So like into the top 7. And now... now the opponent has a little bit of trouble again. So boom, 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 yes. Kill the Tamiyo. Play Tamiyo. Plus Tamiyo. S. And I have the Triumph coming up again. Okay, the opponent's seen enough. That was beautiful. Oof, we got a little bit lucky there. I had just assumed the Purge was good, and then Pyroblast came to my savior. Came to be my savior. So now they know about Daze. Does that change anything? They could have like 1 Pierce instead of a Daze. I don't think that's abysmal. Okay. Let's try and play the game here. I like my chances if we can like get going into the game. Okay. This hand is weak to Tamiyo. Which, I mean, I've built my deck with 6 white removal spells, 2 arrows out of the sideboard, so I have decent numbers against Tamiyo. I would guess I have more answers than my opponent. But they also showed Snuff Out, so they have like push, Snuff Out, feed the cycle. And then Bowmasters as like a pseudo hate bear. Ooh, if the Stifle play pattern could come up, that would be awesome. No such luck this time. Play Tamiyo. Yeah, I think we should just, you know, force the issue here. Something you can do in spots like this is if like you're so sure the opponent's turn 1 play is just going to be push it on end step, you can choose to not play the Tamiyo and then find a better spot. What you have to be aware of is each time where they actually don't have it, you're giving up a lot of equity, right? So We got a little bit lucky here, but maybe they just have the snuff out and everything is good. Let's see. Naughty Voidwalker. That's fine. Let's see if there's a snuff out. No snuff out. Voidwalker is decent. It's a card I have to kill eventually. Land is an abysmal draw. I think I'll just cash in a clue. It's a very unexciting turn. Maybe that's too unambitious. Maybe I'm supposed to see if I can ponder into like a ponder to flip. Ponder into a plow. Okay, let's try that. These cards are terrible. That card is fine. Okay. So pass. Let's see if we get Kaito'd. That would be annoying. Land first main. Here's the sacrifice. I'm already scared that Kaito is going to be in my future. Then what's the plan? The plan is to then surveil end of turn. And then take it from there, hopefully find some relevant stuff. The Voidwalker is out of there for the time being. I basically need to hit a couple of spells here. Otherwise, this card is gonna finish the job. The best spell I can find is gonna be Pyroblast. Fetch. Surveil. Quantum Riddler. I'm afraid that goes to the bin. It's very annoying to bin spells. Exactly for that reason. Okay. Play that card. Try and kill the opponent's Kaito. Very nice. Yeah, now I think the game is over. Okay, okay. Opponents were strong today. I didn't play my best in these matches, but yeah, I just noticed my opponents were strong. Just pouncing on, you know, a little bit of user errors, a little bit of clunky bad draws, and yeah, the opponent just showcased why Affinity and Blue-Black Tempo are great decks. I really like this deck, I must say. I was able to play myself out of some spots and then not exactly do my best in others. Ooh, milling over Barago, if that's a statement. Tell me you're cruising without telling me you're cruising. Yeah, I want to play this deck again. I'm not sure this was the best run for the deck. As in, you know, I could have played better. Also here, the opponent just plays well, right? They realize if they start to tap out, that's not what the game is about. I'll probably need to crack clues, use cantrips, la la la. And then they just want to hold up Bowmaster and punish that. So, yeah, awesome play by the opponent. I draw the Plow. Plow is decent here. If I double fetch, I can play Murktide. Yeah, that's probably going to be something along those lines I'm going to do. I'm banking so many clues, you would think I was a Kappa Cannoneer deck here. So the opponent could have played... what am I trying to say? My opponent could have played Voidwalker but didn't. That's what I was trying to say. All right, 5th card in the yard. I'm actually going to leave the Volcanic in there for when I draw Pyro. As long as I still have a fetch, I think that's fine. So this could be an end step Feat the Cycle. This could be Bowmasters. Bowmasters it is. Let me crack a clue in response. Shields down. Couple of plows facing Kaito. So the opponent's hand is Voidwalker and one unknown. Do I have a chance here? I was maybe a little bit quick to say this game was over, but tapping down Murktide, attacking for 5. Yeah, it's looking very grim. Maybe I couldn't attack with Tamio that turn. Not sure. So I guess I need to draw Perch, Pyro, stuff like that. Here's Feat the Cycle. So now the opponent can attack for 5. They're thinning their deck here to see better cards with Kaito. And then if they don't find a great card, they can play Voidwalker. So being at 5 here is terrible. I'll need to plow, Bowmaster, plow, Voidwalker. Probably the other order. Oof. Yeah, brutal stuff. Kaito too strong. Here's Wasteland. So I guess that's a fine play from the opponent. So they should have Voidwalkered first. Just a good habit against Daze, right? Oh, Murktide. Okay, sure. Never mind. I do draw the Pyro, which is cool. So Plow Merc. We have kind of game here. But there's a Voidwalker coming. Voidwalker coming. What does that mean? So I think I still have to plow the Bowmaster. Yeah, I still have to plow the Bowmaster because my plan is Quantum Riddler. Cannot beat the next Bowmaster, but you know, that's how it goes. Block, plow. Take 0. Stare down to 3/2. And now, yes. Try and stabilize with the Riddler. Dodge. Oh, here's Thoughtseize. Well, now the opponent has a Riddler. Okay, well. So let's see. Kill the Voidwalker. That's number 1. Draw. And now I think I need to no attack. Don't want to take damage this game. Okay. We're still playing until my opponent slams the door on me. Prevent 1. The opponent has a bunch of clues. Can't say I love that. Flip Tamio. And I can do the same, which is funny. Should I do the same? Let's see what the opponent's last card is. New Tamio? Okay. So I can flip Tamio here. And if I draw land, I can even dog. Okay. Attack. Clue. I don't think I'm going to be using that land, though. Let's flip. Murktide? Is that better than dog? Probably is. Do I have a fetchable in my deck? I don't. Sheesh. I messed up here. I think I only play 3 Tundras in the list. Okay. Let's pass the turn and hope my opponent attacks. I guess they don't. Okay, I think I should have cast Failure there because of the opponent, I don't want my opponent to draw days and have it be magically good. Huh. Pretty cool game here, I must say. I think I'm slightly too much on the back foot. Only sending the Tameo. They sent the army. I will fail ya. Here we go. Bowmaster. Yeah, so Bowmaster resolves. Ping, and then I'm gonna dog. And now hopefully I get to eat a 1/2. Okay. They flip that Tameo, so now they get to keep one of them. I don't mind that. A little bit of time pressure here for the opponent. Let's see if they found a fatal push or a dace. They found a snuff out, so that card is dead. Tameo gets hit to 2. The opponent didn't use their Tameo, so that's good for me, I guess. It's a little bit annoying that the opponent can recur snuff out. Play Murktide 1. I should think about the size here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Now I'm gonna pass. Again, hope to make a good turn with the dog. Could have played a fetch there. That wouldn't have been bad. Crack a clue. Yeah, I'm basically hoping my opponent goes like minus to get snuff out, kill. I get to eat the orc army on attack with failure. I'm sorry, I get to eat the bowmaster. No, they're not going to attack with that. That's the thing. Another Tameo. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. Snuff out it is. So that card is dead. That's why I left some stuff in the yard here. So now I'll flash in the dog. Block. Now I have access to my graveyard, which is pretty cool. So what happens if I go and take Plow out of my yard, kill Merc? I'm sorry, kill Bowmasters. Plow that. Is my surveil land even gone this game? Yeah, it is. Okay. So attack Tameo. Link their Tameo. Pass. So my opponent has a Tameo in play and a bunch of lands, but so do I, and I have a dog. I'll block here because of Kaito. Yeah, I must say, 10 minutes ago, I thought this game was over, but we end up having a cool one here down the line where the opponent needs to get the job done in time. Snuff out, okay. And the last card, that's the important one. So unfortunately, they found some good cards off of the clues. That's usually how Tameo works. This looks to be a Murktide Regent. So I'm kind of back to needing an answer. I do play some answers, but not that many. 7/7. right? Ace, an abysmal draw. So now I think I might as well attack. That's generally how this works, because blocking would give me a draw step, but, you know, I might as well get that draw right now and see what's going on. Here's failure, and that's going to do it. Okay. Cool game. Very, very cool game, and that brings us to the end of the video. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. I could have played a little bit better, and yeah, then maybe we get some better results, but yeah, love it. I think the numbers are very, very responsible. We got to grind people out with failure. We got to kill some chalices. We got to, you know, manipulate some blue boards here. But at the end of the day, the blue-black deck with Kaito was too much to handle. And yeah, I guess that's just the story of Legacy right now. It is a tall order. All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope to see you back soon on the channel. Thanks again.